No, we can mute everyone so that only Rahul can speak. Yeah, yeah, Rahul, yes.
Okay. So, hi, good morning, everyone. This is Rahul Parik from Programmers.io. A brief intro from myself. I've been working with IBM and related technologies for more than 11 plus years. And today I'll be talking about VS Code in respect of IBM I. Okay, I'll share my screen. Let me share my screen. So, this is Visual Studio Code. As you can see on my screen, this this is the icon of the Visual Studio Code. This can be downloaded on its site visualstudiocode.com. Visual Studio Code, this is a product from Microsoft which is open source and has been to the market for a very long time. Over the last couple of years, this has become the preferred choice for the developers as an IDE, or you can say the editor to write your code, because the community, they have helped this to develop enormously with lot of extensions, support for different languages. So nowadays, everybody, if you see people who are working with the open source technologies on the front end technologies, they would say this our preferred choice is VS Code. Another thing is there is a good support of Git for in this editor also. So that is also also adds as an advantage. In terms of IBM I, when you write a code on conventional IBM I, which is my screen, this is my ECS screen. So if I go here and if I try to write any code, or so this SEU, it was last updated in 2008 or 9 from IBM I, and since then there hasn't been any update on this SEU. So for examples, when we write our free form code or you write some new opcodes, when you save your code, some lines are highlighted that says there are some syntax errors. Even though you save that code, it compiles successfully. So this has been not updated for a longer time. And then there was an SCE given by IBM, that is RDI, that is kind of textual editor where you can put your code in the form of textual form, and then there are so many features. But anyhow, that is a paid tool, and the license, I'm not aware of the actual cost of the license, but that is costly. So for the vast community of the IBM I developer, VS Code over the last, I would say 2 3 years, from the last 2 3 years, it has gained popularity. Because I remember a couple of years back, myself and Nirmal, we had a talk that somebody is writing a code, somebody is developing something where you can write your IBM I code on Notepad. And I would say for the last year, I've been using this. So today we'll talk about how we can use VS Code as our SEU or IDE for writing our code. In this, like all these tools are not give, or they will not give you something extra. Anyhow, your code will be saved in your source physical file member, your object will be compiled in your libraries. But they give some features which will make the life of the developer easy. They give you uh, syntax highlighting to search something. So these kind of small features, and obviously there are some enhancements. But yes, we can do whatever we do with the VS Code. There are other options also available, but when you have so many options available under one umbrella, then it becomes life of a developer a bit easy. So that's why this VS Code has become popular for the last couple of years. Okay. So let's move to the VS Code. As I said, we can download this VS Code from the its site where you can choose your OS and you can download it. So I have already downloaded this Visual Studio Code in my system. So if I click this, it will open like this. There are so many features you can. There are these settings. The settings, it will give you so many features to uh, design your colors and the theme. So currently I'm using this dark theme. Okay. For the IBMI, you will see this when I click hover over this. This is IBMI. There could be an option that you might not see this IBMI icon here. If you don't see this, what you can do is you can go to this view, okay, open view, and here you will see IBMI. So if I do this, it will open. I have some connections already configured, so we'll go to this later. But when you click on this, you might see this IBMI on your left hand of this bar. If you don't see this, you can find that IBMI icon in view and open view, then yeah. Okay. Now to work or to connect this Visual Studio Code as an IDE with your IBM I server, we'll have to have couple of extensions installed on our system. So I have installed couple of extensions. First one is Code for IBM I. You don't need to go anywhere else to download this. You go into the search, and if you search the extension, you will find this Code for IBM I. This is the main extension that anybody requires who wants to use Visual Studio Code as the IDE for their development and other related tasks. You can click on this, you can install, and it will get installed on the IBM I, and it will start showing on this extension that we or anybody who has downloaded is available here. Okay. So I have installed three extensions: Code for IBMI, Code for IBMI walkthroughs, and IBMI languages. So these two are important. This is for the connectivity to your IBM I box, and this IBM I languages is it's a syntax highlighting extension. So whenever you start writing your code, it gives you opcodes, functions, reserve keywords in different colors. Your source lines are highlighted, variables are highlighted, your parentheses will be highlighted. So it will give you this feature. Like the guys who have most of the guys might be using this already, or some of the guys might have experience of the RDI, and some of the guys who are working on both front end and back end, then they could relate like how helpful this could be of extends this highlighting the your reserve words, keywords, and all. Okay, so to start with, first you have to have this Visual Studio Code editor installed on your box on your local system. Then you can come here, go to the extensions and just install these. At least these two extensions I would say would be preferred. Okay. Now, when I click on this, okay. So here, when I click on this IBM I need to connect my Visual Studio Code with my IBM I. Okay. So to create a new connection, you would see there is a plus icon here. When you click on this, it will open this window. Okay. Here you can give the connection name, your IP address, and the thing here, important thing here to note is that Visual Code Studio connects with the IBM I with through SSH. Okay. Nowadays, this SSH connectivity is gaining so much popularity. Okay, I will show you later in this call, in this session, that there are how many ways your system can be connected to outside world. Okay, so to start with, you can give your connection name, any connection name you would that is dependent to the person who is creating the connection. One can put the IP address of the IBMI box, the username, the user that is username and password. These are two credentials which you generally use to log in on your IBMI box. So these are IBMI user profiles. Okay, this is one way. Other way, if you have SSH and SSH key is already there, then you can choose save that key file into your system and you can select. And once you click on this connect box, it will save this setting. Okay, and it will connect to your IBMI box. Similarly, like you can see, I have already two connections here. This is my first connection. This is my second connection. So if I click on this, it will start connecting it. You will say it is connecting here. It checks, and now I am logged into my IBM iBox. It didn't ask for the password because this connection I had created with SSH keys. Okay. To disconnect, you can press F1. When you press F1, you will see this is the option that I frequently use. So it is on the top of my list. So if I click on this, it will disconnect. This is how. So if this was my this was the connection that I just used to connect to IBM iBox. It was through SSH. If I connect this, then it asks, prompts me for the password, because when I created this connection, I had saved username and password while creating that connection. But since this connection I created with SSH keys, that is already stored, so I'm not prompted to enter any password. Okay. Now we are into your IBM iBox. Okay. First of all, a couple of features like this code for IBM I will give you the IFS access also. So you can have IFS access. By default, it will give you your home directory, the user profile with which you are login. So for every user, there is a directory created in the root folder under home directory. So currently, this is my working directory, but I can access IFS through VS Code. Okay. This is the current library list of my job, the job through which I am connected to IBM iBox. So currently I have these two libraries in my job. If I want to add new libraries, I can add any library. For example, if I want to add hash IASRC, so it gets added and I can see that library is here. You can change the sequence of these libraries, take it up, or one can remove the library. Okay. So this is the library list of the current job through which you are connected to your IBM iBox. Okay, now let's take a look. How can we browse the sources? How can we add or create new source members? So initially, when you will log in, you will see everything here. For my convenience, I have separated the IFS part and the objects. So now here you will see this one. So this is nothing, it's a filter. You will see this is my object browser. Okay. To see or to with which library, which source physical files, a developer or a person who wants to work, you can create as many filters as you want. Okay. To create any filter. Okay. For example, this is my filter, which is available on library, this Rahul P. I'm taking all the source physical files in this library. So they'll be listed here, and the object types will be source physical file. So how do we create a new filter is you can create on this plus icon. Okay. And sorry, this is a filter box where you click. Okay. Here you will, it will prompt what details you want to give and you can create a new filter. For example, my first filter is object list. I can create a new filter here with object list 2, and what library you would like to view here, on which library you want to create your filter. So for example, if I give hash IAS SRC, I can, I would like to have all the source physical files or all the objects starting with Q star. So generally we have in a library, we create the source physical files starting with Q star. So I'll put as Q star. And if it is star, it will display all the objects. Okay. Now with Q star, which type of object you would like to see? So generally I use this for my coding purpose. So I'm much more interested in star source physical files. and all the types of members, maybe CL, RPGLE, SQL, whatever. Okay. Now if I save the settings, it will create a new filter. Now you can see I have one more filter. Okay. And when I click on this, all the source physical files in library hash IASRC are available. They are listed here. Okay. If I go QRPGLESRC, I can click on this and all the sources are available here. Okay. Now your code is the source member that you want to access is available on VS Code in the textual form, which is very helpful. You can code this, you can code anything here. It will be saved into your source member. Okay. And like you can imagine when a program is big and you have to scroll a program so many times to reach to a point, and then you can think of using a scroll functionality where you can go, you can search it, becomes very easy for the programmer to do the task or to handle multiple tasks in one source physical file member. Okay. As I said, with the extension, you can see these control words are highlighted in blue. Variables declaration is highlighted in blue. Your variable name is in white. Another thing is, since it is a textual format, so if I click on this, you will see wherever I have this command, all the rows will be highlighted. Like this command is highlighted. So this also gives me a, a kind of help where if I want to search for a variable and I want to see like which at all which places I need to go and check and to do the changes. Okay, this is one part. Another thing is you can see this, it will give you these arrows, and when you click on this it will collapse the code. So for example, a very big function you want to just pass through, you want to see, or in your native 5250 screen you have to go so many page downs or you have to search, then you reach to a particular function. But if I want to just collapse this, I can collapse this and my whole procedure is gone. Now that is out of picture for me. I don't want to search it. Okay. So this is another function where it will collapse the big chunk of code, mostly the loops, the procedures, the if conditions. Here it will be very helpful for you to just browse through your code. Okay. So let me take a smaller example. I'll go back to my initial filter. Okay. Now here you can see I have written couple of small pieces of code. So I can close this. Okay. So this is my small piece of code. Okay. Where I had just written it for this demo. Okay. Small piece of code. It is available. Now, if I want to compile this code from VS Code itself, what you have to do is you have to press Control and E, and it will give you what command you would like to run. And depending on the type of your source member, you can select a command. So for example, if I select, because this is my, you can see test.sql rpgle is my SQL rpgle type member. So I will select this command. If I press enter, it will say something went wrong. It was not compiled successfully. Okay. But you can compile your sources here from this uh, member. Okay, you can create the service program, you can create the modules, and you can create the programs also. How do we add a new member to our source physical file? So this list, when we came here, we saw that when I created the filter, I had library. My library was already created. My source physical file was already created. Okay. But what I can do is I can create, right click on this. I can create a new source physical file. For example, QMOD SRC. Okay. So it will create a new source physical file in my library Rahul P. Okay. And I can go here. Let's minimize this. There is nothing here. So I can click on this source physical file and I can create a new member, maybe test mod dot sqlrpgle. So my source physical file is ready, my file is ready, so I can start writing my code here. And when you start using it, you will see that once we start using this, coding in the textual format becomes easy. Once you are familiar with this, it becomes very helpful and you'll find it very convenient to code. Okay. So this way we can add new source physical files, new members to a particular source physical file. Okay. Another thing is the one of the good features of this code for IBMI is you can, for this is my member. Okay. Okay. Let me go here. Okay. So I can, if I want to do some comparison, I can compare this source program here. Okay. I can open this with, I can go here, I can select it for compare. Okay. And then I can go and I can select again compare with selected. So now my source member is opened twice. It can be done thrice, whatever time you want to do. Now imagine that there was a piece of code or it was an old code where the logic was written 5-10 places. The same logic was written 5-10 places. It was not a procedure or not a subroutine. So now a piece of code, this piece of code is on from line 12 to 17. Now I have this same piece of code maybe somewhere down the line 300, 400. So if I do something here, if I do something here and I want to do there, so what I can do is, because you will see if I start editing this one view, or it will, this same changes will be reflected in all the views. So if I write a new line here, display hello, it's available here as well. So what I can do is I can take a piece of code, I can do something here, I can scroll, I can go to the 300 or 400 line and just copy that. Since the changes will be reflected in both the copies, so you can use that. Okay. Another thing is you can see this is the same source member that I am comparing it with. It says test.sql is compared with test.sql. So there are no changes because it is the same file we are comparing it. Okay. I'll close it and I'll give you another example. Now let me just, I'll select it for compare and I'll compare with test1.rpgle. What it would do, it will show you the differences between two files. Okay. So you can see this is just this test and test one. They are almost the same copies of the same source. Okay. But I have changed couple of lines. So you can see in the test one, this line is extra, which is not available on this test, on this test one. And then there is a piece of code. This procedure is extra in test one, which is not available in test. So you can compare multiple files. Okay. This button is, you can split the editor. Okay. So if I click on this, it will keep splitting this. Okay. Different views, and you can split top to bottom, left, right. There are multiple options one can use. Okay. So this is one of the like features we can use, couple of features of the VS Code with Code for IBM extension and the syntax highlighter, which you can use. Now imagine another option is, for example, imagine you are working with a big XML, okay, a very big XML, and you are writing some piece of code, or you want to scroll through couple of tags. You are designing a data structure for that XML. So there are two ways. Either you have, when you are working with your SEU, you open one session for your source, another session for your IFS. But again, IFS, everything you have to do page on. So what I can do is I can download and I can do in, open that in editor, but I have two windows. What I can do is, this is my source physical file member. Okay, I can go to this and yes, if you click on this, it will hide all those uh, these options. and this will give you a full view of your source. Okay. Now what I can do is with this, I can come here. Okay. And I know I have some JS file here. I can come here and I can open. So at the same time, I have access to my source physical file members where I need to write actual piece of code. And then I have this IFS browser, which is very helpful. I can see my files. Okay. And for example, if your XML is here, now you have view of both of your XML and your code. So I can see, I can scroll through, I can understand the structure of my XML or a big JSON file or a big SQL file. Okay. And I can do the changes. Another thing is when we have to write a code, or if you get a source member from other person, or you have taken your backup of your source code. Okay. Then there are two ways you upload it from ACS or from IFS. Good thing is here, since it is all in textual, okay, I can control C, I can do control A, whatever the big source, and I'm just done. And I can go to any notepad, I can open a screen and I can just paste it. So this way, if the code is very big, no need to go, no need to just copy paste line by line. Same ways, the vice versa also, if I have a source member available in any notepad, I can go, I can do control C and I can open a maybe, or let's say, let's put it here. I can just put it here. No indentation. You need not to worry about indentations, nothing. Because since that code was downloaded directly from VS Code or copied from VS Code, it can be directly uploaded into your source member. No need to worry about that indentation and all. Okay. So this is another feature uh, which uh, which becomes very helpful. Thing with this is like you can say here, this is my IFS browser. Okay. With this IFS, there are some options. Okay. You can see this is my home directory, and in the home directory, I am the user. I'm logged in with QSecOffer. Okay. I have created a new directory in this directory, that is PIO. Okay. Since I am much more interested only this PIO, so what I can do is I can create on this, right click on this. Okay. Add IFS shortcut, and it will create a shortcut of this. So you will see this is my PIO directory, which is in QSecOFR. So I'm not interested. I don't want to do mistakenly any changes in this directory. I'm much more interested into my this directory. So now I have this, all the objects, members, your files available in this are available to you. If I want to make it on the top position, I can click on this. So my shortcut goes up and that directory comes below to this. Okay. Now you can see that I have this JS file. Maybe I saved it because VS Code automatically saves it. So I will do Control S. Okay, I click. Okay, there are some options on this line, and one of the important one is this terminals. Okay, when I click here, it will give you two terminals, pace and 5250. 5250, when you click on 5250, it will open your interactive session here. Okay, I can log in with any password or the credential that given to you, and it is the same terminal that we connect with IBM I emulator or ACS. Okay, so I can do changes here, like I can see I added this new source physical file here, so it is available here. Okay, similarly if I go here and if I do any change in my program here, uh, if I do any changes in my program here, as soon as I do file and save it, same gets reflected to on your VS Code source member as well. So this is with the VS Code, since it is connected to SSH, you have the access to your 5250 session. Okay. And then there is, let me sign it. And then we have, I can close this session from here. Okay. And then there is terminal for the pace. I can come here. The commands that you run with qp2 term, all that pace environment is available here. I can check, sorry, I can check if the node is installed here. What is the version? Let's say if I want to run this JS from my this paste terminal, I can do that. I can create Git repositories, init them, and so many features. Whatever we can do from the 5250 starting with that qp2 term, that also can be done from here as well. Okay, couple of more features on this IFS. There was, you can see, we recently had this. These are the save files. Okay, so when you want to put save file, if your FTP is not working, becomes difficult. Yesterday we had the same issue that we could not access our IBM box through normal connections. FTP was not available, so we could not connect. So we could not send these save files from our Windows machine to IBM box. Other connections were not working, but since VS Code, it is connected through SSH, so it was working. So what I could do is I just click on this directory, right clicked, and then there is an upload option. Okay, you can select your file. This is a save file. I selected this save file and it got uploaded here. And believe these couple of these save files are very big, but they were uploaded very fast. So this is another feature where you can use VS Code. Now I had this save file here, then I moved my save file to my particular library where I wanted to use. So this is one of the feature. Similarly, click on, there are other options also. Like this shortcuts, we just access upload is also there. Okay. You can remove the shortcut. You can search it. If you want to remove any directory or stream file from the IFS, delete object will work. You can create the new directory like we created the new stream, the new source physical file in our library. Similarly, I can create a new directory and I can create a new stream file from here as well. And then I can use that same stream file to do the coding. For example, generally what I do is nowadays I run my SQL statements from IFS. So I create my SQL files on IFS. So you can see this SQL file is highlighted with a different thing. So I know this is my SQL file. I can go here. I can write my SQL statement and then I can run SQL STM through stream file. So kind of this, it is intuitive thing that I know, yeah, this is my SQL. Yeah. So these are the basic couple of features that I have explored in the last months, and couple of features we just came to know yesterday because we had to explore some SSH related options. So overall, what I found using this is becomes helpful while you once it'll take some time, maybe 5-10 days, but once you are habitual of using this. Also, one feature I can show you, for example, this. Now imagine this is a very big piece of procedure and you need to comment it out. There are two options. If it is in free, put the comment lines one by one. I can do is I can select this whole, control forward slash, and it is commented. If I want to remove it, again control forward slash, it is removed. So these are the small features. When you start using it, you will find it very helpful, which are time saving. And yes, anyhow, we are not doing anything special. We are creating the same source members and objects, but with the view of the developer, making life easy, not the green screen anymore. Also, another thing is, this is why I find it very helpful. Like when I start writing, for example, if I declare this variable input string, and as soon as I start writing, it will give you the suggestion. So you can use this. Reduces your typing effort, and the errors that are generated due to the typo. Because sometimes I can miss G, I can miss T because if it is a long word, and it happens generally when we start coding. So this is where it is very helpful. Also, there is a feature in this VS Code where you can run your SQL statements from here as well, but I have not explored it because currently my job's ID is not with 37, so it disables that thing. But yes, when you start using it, there you can run your SQL statements and DB2 connectivity as well. Yeah, that that is from my side.
Okay, thank you, Rahul. Thank you for the wonderful session. So, this is recommended. Like you can start using VS Code because at programmers.io we always, work on the advanced things. So that's why if it looks good to you, then start using it. You can get it installed via the process what we have. And now we can go over the questions. This Ranjan has question.
Yep.
Rahul, is there a way to debug the program using the VS or
Yes, there is, but I haven't tried. I need to check that.
okay, okay, okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you.
and yeah, there is some. KD has question. Yeah.
Like, I think in this, is there a way like we can browse, like in S100 we can able to browse, but in this I think only we can able to edit directly edit, and I think VS will directly save it, because we might for
There
suppose
are preferences, KD, in the VS Code, so you can stop that auto save feature.
okay,
I have
okay.
like that feature enabled, so it auto saves my code.
Means there will be some way, right? Like when we right click on the code, it will ask for browse mode or something like how we
No,
have
no,
in
no,
RTI.
no, 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 no. In the preference of the VS Code itself.
Okay.
Hmm.
Rahul, you was sharing about like you can upload the file from your desktop to the IFS, right? Is
Mhm.
there also like you can download the same from your IFS to your desktop?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
Hi, sir. Kapil this side.
Yeah.
So, sir, like regarding that configuration part,
Hmm.
so we can configure our machine with that visual code, right? So,
You
if
can
I'm
create
having,
connection. Yeah.
yeah, so like if I have remote desktop, like I'm using client system, in that case, can we configure inside
Uh,
since we are using that emulator inside the client machine
I think then in that case it should be on the remote desktop.
inside the remote only, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, hi sir.
Yep.
Amit this side. Yeah. So at the time of source comparison, do we have any option through which we can turn off the page synchronization, like in split mode?
That I didn't try. I'm not sure. Maybe, but I didn't find that option.
Okay. Okay.
It could be. So you guys can explore it.
Yeah. Sure. Thanks.
Uh,
Yeah, hi Rahul, this is Anurag. So
yeah.
Rahul, is there any chance of losing the code from the VS Code editor if I open that is deleted the whole content in the source and remain the blank file there? Is there any chance of losing the code? Because I have used the ILE editor and there I
Mhm.
lose the code many times. So in this, is there a chance of losing a code?
Like if you delete the code, yes, it will update your source member. Definitely.
No, automatically it just crashed and
No,
I
no.
lose my code.
Uh,
Okay.
I'm not sure because I've been using it for, I would say, more than 8 9 months, and it's been I didn't face any this kind of issue. It's stable. Like the issues myself and Shivam, we had discussed couple of things. So currently that pace environment and this 5250, there sometimes the arrow keys doesn't work properly. So it when you press an arrow key, it can give you some junk characters. So this is the only issue till date I have found. Maybe my keyboard settings are not correct or there is some additional setting that I need to do. Other than that, I didn't face any issue. It's been helpful for me.
Okay, okay. Because it happened with me for while I using IL editor.
Okay. Uh, Hopefully it should not do that. But yeah, till now I'm good with it.
Uh, okay, okay. Thanks, Rahul.
Yeah,
Uh, Hi, sir.
Rahul,
yeah.
yeah, Sandeep this side. Just want to confirm that in IBM, we do find string PDM on one or more source physical files. So is it possible on VS Code Editor also?
Yes, yes. This is a good feature. Let me share screen. Yes, it is. So like this is my screen. I'll go to that my browser. So this is your source physical file. Okay. Here you would see the right click search source file. So whatever you want to search, for example, if I search here something on display and it will start searching in your source physical file and it will show you that this display comes from test RPG. It is there 4 times. In this it is 4 times. Yes. So that option is available. Good question.
Okay, thank you.
Rahul sir,
Hi, sir.
Abhilash this side.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I have a question. Can we run different commands in VS Code
Different commands means you can write
like
SQL. You
SQLD or
no,
something like that?
no. You can write CL program. You can write
Okay,
SQLs, but we cannot run commands.
okay,
Yes, you can run the commands through these terminals, PS and
okay,
5250. Yeah.
and it is like helpful for like fixed format also, like
Yes, yes, yes.
highlighted
I
ones.
I didn't get a chance to create that code, but yes, if we have any, I'm not sure. Ajit, do we have any fixed format code in hash ISRC? I can open.
No, we don't have.
Okay.
Or
No, we
I'll
don't have.
create.
But yes, fixed format code it works.
Okay, okay, thank you.
Hi, sir. Sriram here.
Yeah.
In this, as all everyone asked, there is no browse mode for the sources. We can check. Only it will go for edit mode.
Yes.
Okay.
As I said, like for the auto save, you can check for that, but I'll check and update you.
Okay, okay. And we can't use any SU commands over here. Like we do say when checking for the string and finding our file. No such things will be used over here. That will be do
Like
by some options, like
I didn't get you. Like search
no,
string, we just checked.
no.
Members are already. Yeah.
In the particular source on the SU commands, will be giving save a file or searching some strings. Everything will do right in SU on top of the source, particular open source.
Mm-hmm. So what,
So
for example, this is your source, right?
yeah,
Now, what do you want to search? If you want to search, for example, you want to search this, as I said, it will highlight all those rows. Yeah. Directly.
No,
okay,
actually, he's asking the user options. So
yeah.
we create a like manual or
I think
custom user options.
No, no, that is not
That
available.
we can do control F here, I guess, sir.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
can do control F.
Yeah. What are the options which are available in your
We can
text
do
editor?
control F here, I guess, right?
Yes,
I
Kitty.
think he wants to
Then
know
we can.
any line which got updated
Yes.
last time, modified last time.
Yeah, the source,
Okay.
like in the terminal, you see the sources with the change date, right?
Yeah,
Here we
like
are
that
not.
will do. The shift F2
Here,
will be doing that and check the date
here we are
immediately.
not able to see the dates,
Yes.
like
Yes.
last where it has been changed.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
that
is
is
not
one.
available. Yeah.
Okay, okay, okay. And
Yes,
we
Rahul. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, one more thing which I noticed, Rahul, when we open the code and do any editing over here, it changed
Mm-hmm.
the date for all whole source. So it always remains as a change date as 000 there. So it look like as a fresh code. So if we are making any change in the existing code, and
No, I don't
if you
think
want to
so.
see the
Let me
so
connect this.
yeah.
I don't think so because it will highlight all the. My system is disconnected. I'll check it because the lines that you change, it will just mark them.
So no,
For fixed code,
for
it will
that
show the
I can
date.
We
answer.
can use the terminal also for this
Hmm.
here only in this VS Code.
Sorry.
Yeah, Rahul, this is
Uh,
Mahendra. Like, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Like regarding command role, we can use the command in the BS code. Okay. but
Uh-huh.
actually I'm not sure like how, but we can use, maybe Rishabh can let you know like guys how we can
Okay.
use the command, because we are using in the edge order. I'm not using, Rishabh only using, because I don't have that. Okay.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
Rick always use the command to compile the program and all things. Also for the date, we have some setting in the VS code. You can see the date on the right side. Okay.
Yes.
That you are talking
Okay.
like you are not able to see. So that we can do some setting. So
Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
need
So
that,
like
maybe
these are,
Rishabh can
I mean, we can explore once we start using it. There would be so many options. This is what I generally use. So, we just wanted to showcase that it is very helpful. You should start using it, and once you are familiar with it, you'll find it like very way better than SEU using SEU.
So, Rahul, I have one question. Like, since it is an open source, right? Everyone can
Mm-hmm.
use it. So
Mm-hmm.
it's basically there will be a community of all the developers who has worked on that particular tool
Mm-hmm.
for the users.
Extension.
So yeah, the extension.
Mm-hmm.
So is it being maintained regularly,